So I think we all know, right? Next year is kind of a big year for Disney Pixar cars. It is the 20th anniversary of the first movie dating back to 2006. Absolutely insane. And that also means it's the 20th anniversary of the Mattel Disney Cars diecast line. So as a fan, as a collector, we're all expecting something special, something just a little special to celebrate this achievement. I mean, it is pretty remarkable that the line has gone on this long. That is really rare for a franchise. It does have 3 movies, couple spin-offs, lots of shorts, but it really speaks to the success of Cars and also our part in that. I mean, we have supported the franchise for 20 plus years now. And that is why it is still around, because we keep buying the cars. We keep talking about them online. It is pretty awesome. I love it. I'm so happy to be a part of this community in a big way on YouTube here. So that brings us to, well, what is Mattel going to be releasing for the 20th anniversary 2026 diecast line? And I hope to shed some light on that very thing in this video by revealing, originally I was going to say 26 reveals for 2026, but it's about 30 reveals, some of which you may already know, some of which I have already revealed through some of my case reveal videos, case A and B for 2026 singles. But the majority of this, I don't think the majority of you will know. So let's have some fun with it. I am just going to rattle through these without giving too much of background opinion. Save that for the end of the video because I want you guys to formulate your own opinion without being swayed by me as we go along. So think about it, comment down below. Let's get some conversation going between you and I, you and other people. Would love to hear what you guys think. So we're going to start off with one of the most random cars I'm seeing here for 2026, and that is Mike 07. That is exactly how it is conveyed to me on my documentation. There is no misinterpretation. It is Mike 07, which directly matches the police car from the canceled Cars short To Protect and Serve. Now, he was released in a 3-pack exclusive to Walmart with student driver Lightning McQueen and DD05. Really cool set, actually, like super underrated, and really awesome that it actually released despite the short not being released. And yet, it doesn't fit with what Mattel has been doing over the last few years. They do Tokyo Mater stuff, and in terms of Cars tunes, like that's pretty much it. Why bring back Mike 07 so randomly without any of the other characters? So I don't know. This might metastasize into something new or something else, but that is what it says, so that is what I'm going to tell you. We have Todd Marcus and Ralph Carlo back. Now, pretty sure these are going to be the Cars 1 versions. If they happen to be Cars 3, amazing. I think that's a big win, right? We want those Cars 3 stock cars back. But I believe, from what I know, that these are the Cars 1 versions, both of which have been released relatively recently. That's No Stall and Little Torquey Piston stock cars, respectively, from the first movie. Then we have the next-gen Gas Brim Racer from Cars 3, Richie Guns It. We have Carlo Veloso from Cars 2. So yeah, we do get some World Grand Prix representation without the GRC moniker in 2026. We also get Francesco Bernoulli, Nigel Gearsley, and Raul Serrul. We're also getting Hall and Gas back, the retread racer. And again, there's no misconstruing this one to be the Cars 3 version because Hall and Gas is only in Cars. Retread is only in Cars 1. Barry the Pedal, the RPM Next Gen is also back. Jonas Carver's, the No Stall Next Gen is back. Both of which have been released over the last couple years in 2-packs, singles, you name it, right? Mel Dorado is back after not being released in like 4 years. 2022 was his last release, butting up against when Cars on the Road debuted. We get the Toe Cap Next Gen, JD McPillar. I think few people will be excited about this one, but again, he was released as a single in 2021. I believe this one was released as a single in 2022, Mater with Balloon. So nothing too crazy there. We do have Rotor Turbowski. This is one of the more interesting ones here on the list, which might not speak too highly of the list. It doesn't say much if it's Rotor Turbowski, but this likely will be akin to the single version from 2008 because he's going to be a single, and yet when Rotor had been most recently released, I think in 2020, maybe it was one. I mean, he was a deluxe, right? I mean, Rotor is a deluxe, and even then he's underscaled because I can't fit Mater into the deluxe Rotor Turbowski, the Dinoco helicopter, like he should be able to, right? So we always knew like he was never the right scale, so I don't feel too upset that they're like downsizing him just a little bit to get him into the singles. We'll see how he pans out. I just don't think he'll be able to be that deluxe size that we had become accustomed to for quite a while, right? Ever since pretty much after 2008. Noah Gochek, the Clutch A Next Gen is back, so you kind of get the theme. There are a lot of Next Gens this year. Then we have 95 Pit Crew Fillmore. This could end up being the Cars 2 version. It could end up being Pit Crew member Fillmore from Cars 1. Because they include 95 in this title, I would lean, like if I had to put money on it, it's probably the Cars 2 version. But we'll see how it ends up panning out. But they have always referred to the Cars 2 Pit Crew members with that 95 in the title. This guy's last release was in 2020 with Mater in a 2-pack. Aaron Clocker, the revolting Next Gen, is back. Him and Noah Gochek, or not Noah Gochek, Jonas Carver's always like have been tied at the hip for me because they debuted in the same case in 2020. Now Aaron had been released prior to that, but it was his first Thailand release, and Jonas, it was his first release ever. Clutch 8 Racing Tractor is back. This is, again, nothing too new. He had been released as a single and in a 2-pack in 2021. Speaking of 2021, Will Rush, who debuted that year, the Vinyl 2-Pay Next Gen is back. I like this one. It's one of my favorite Next Gens. We have Brad Windmiller, Marlon Clutch's McKay, so a couple Cars 1 characters there, background characters. You get Hot Rod Smokey back, so instead of the Heyday Smokey, this is Hot Rod Smokey. Now again, Hot Rod Smokey, like Steve Herschel, Hot Rod Steve Herschel, they don't appear in the movie, right? A lot of people don't know this, but in the end credits, it's Ramon, Louise Nash, River Scott, and Junior Moon. For whatever reason, Hot Rod Smokey didn't attend the little shindig within Ramon's House of Body Art where they all painted themselves up in flames. Smokey was like, nah, I'm good on that. But Mattel was like, no, you're getting flames whether you like it or not. We get Dexter Hoover back, this time with the checkered flag. The yellow flag would have been nice, but nah. Now we're getting a little bit more into foreign territory, I think, with you guys here. We have Ray Reverham, Jackson Storm's crew chief. This one's pretty nice. I think the last time he's been released was in 2020 in a 2-pack, because when they did the 2021 2-pack, it was Jackson Storm and Laura Spinwell. So kind of cool there. He's a bigger character, so he will, as a single, he'll definitely stand out. Jimmy Lugwrench is back. He was just released in a 5-pack, that Thomasville 5-pack with like Ducky Fauntleroy. Again, this is a 2021 character getting his first single release, first single re-release, I should say, but third release overall because of that 5-pack that a lot of people are kind of forgetting about. It looks like we're getting regular Chick Hicks back this year as well, so that's in addition to the rally race version, which is why I'm able to distinguish the two confidently here. We are getting Chick Hicks. Now, it would be cool if this ends up being Cars 3 Chick without the headset, something wild. But this is probably just going to be regular Chick Hicks, and it's probably going to have the Cars 3 artwork. Yay! Mater with 95 hat is back. This here is one of the quote-unquote oldest releases to come back in 2026, which is pretty wild. Like, if you take all of these, you tell me when were they last released, 2019 is going to be like one of the farthest back we can go, especially up until this point. I mean, now Mike07 that would be a big exception, right? A smaller rotor Turbosky would be a huge exception. But Mater with 95 hat goes all the way back to 2019. Pretty nice. I mean, it kind of feels like a Cars 3 version of Mater with balloon because, it's going to come unattached in the package and then you'll pop it into his roof there. Very similar mechanics to Mater with balloon. Moving on, you have Yellow Hydraulic Ramon with the paint gun. This one also is actually 2019, but later because this was a Blue Desert release. So he is back. That was a pretty rare release that year. I don't think I ever found that case even in a store. That was like the Randy Lawson Shiny Wax tractor, which, hey, that would have been that probably would have been the best tractor to re-release if you ask me. Or we could have gotten a new tractor. Now here is the real, what do people say? Monkey's paw. You know what did J. Jonah Jameson say when he revealed Spider-Man's name at the end of Far From Home? Now here's the real, I don't know. I can't remember what he said. There's a phrase when you're like, whoa, what is this? 2012 Super Chases somehow coming back. There is nothing on my documentation that indicates that these are any different from their original releases, meaning it doesn't say they're metallic now. It doesn't say they are ice race versions or something crazy. It just says their names, which are Flash and Memo Rojas Jr., the Swedish and Mexican World Grand Prix racers, respectively, that appear in those versions of Cars 2, right? If you went to the theater to watch Cars 2 in Sweden, you're going to see Flash and not Jeff Gorvette. You're going to see Memo in Mexico and not Jeff Gorvette during the scenes where they actually speak. I think Jeff still does appear in the movie, just in the peripheral, but at the Tokyo party, it's going to be Memo. I think actually, maybe that's the only scene where these localized racers appear, because I've never seen them like at the Radiator Springs World Grand Prix. So I'm pretty sure they only appear at that Tokyo party. But yes, in 2012, they released all but one of these localized racers. They excluded Fernando Alonso, the Spanish version. I don't know, maybe because he was in Miguel Camino's model, that's like the odd man out, or there was some issue with Fernando, but they did all the other ones: Flash, Memo, Vidley, Longa, and Frosty. So there were 5. Extremely rare that year. Those things, they were so rare. I thought they were only released in their home countries. That's how delusional I was, because that's how rare they were. I'm like, oh my God, they're only releasing this in Sweden. That was only true though for, I don't even think that was true for Frosty. I think all the other Frosties, like Carbon Ice, Neon Frosty, those were all exclusive to Australia, but like regular Frosty was not. Very confusing, but yeah, they were supposed to hit the stores in the US. It's just distribution was horrible that year. So we'll see. This is a cardinal sin though to me, like re-releasing Super Chases that you claimed, limited to 4,000 pieces, never to be released again. In fact, I think Memo might even be limited to 3,000. I'll have to double check on that. Flash, I'm pretty sure is 4K. But Memo, I think some of those Super Chases were even more limited, which is why, if you were to try and buy some of these, Longa is the easiest to obtain. Memo and Vidley and Frosty, oh my God, it's wow, those are pretty expensive, but they're coming back in some way, shape, or form. We'll see. Again, this could metastasize into something different as things develop. We are still pretty deep in the 2020. Well, we're pretty shallow in the 2025, I guess you could say, because it's still October, but a lot can change. Here are a couple interesting ones. We are getting Buzz and Woody back in a 2-pack. Wild. First releases since 2020, which isn't even that long ago, but yeah, there was that weird drive-in line that Mattel did. It had Buzz, Woody, PT Flea, Flick, Sully, Mike Wazowski. Some of those characters had just been released a few years before that in the Mainline. Then Mattel, a couple years later was yeah, here they are again, but now for a couple dollars more. So yeah, now they're back to being in the Mainline after, kind of going toward a more premium line, kind of hit Target stores. I think they're $6 or whatever. Yeah, that's a 2-pack. We all know Jeff Gorvette, the Cars 3 Jeff Gorvette coming back with Pat Traxon in a 2-pack. As for the other 2-packs, they are so vaguely listed here. I really can't glean much information off of them. And I don't want to give you guys any predictions in this video. I want to give you the cold hard facts. So that's pretty much all I could speak to on 2-packs. Let me also throw Dale Earnhardt Jr. in this video, even though I think a lot of you guys already know about him. He's coming back in the NASCAR line. Now, does this image make him look metallic to you? Not really to me, but he really should be metallic if he's in this line, or maybe they're making an exception for him. Either way, pretty cool that he's back. They cleared up the copyright issue, bringing back a character that had not been released in 15 plus years. So this might go down as the best release for the year, but don't want to stray too far. Let's get back to the Mainline. There's an ambulance coming as well. That's all I can tell you. I don't know what kind of ambulance this is. I'm going to predict that it is the Cars 3 Thomasville Retro Ambulance in the model of Weedle Lee. That would be awesome, and that would make the whole year worth it. Actually, would it though? Because that's the last reveal, right? So, yeah, not great, guys. It's not great. Like, I'm not really holding anything back here. I am going to do a separate video on the celebration stuff. There are some quote-unquote celebration cars like McQueen, Mater, Ramon, I think, a couple others. I'll do a separate video on that. I want to go over those in more detail and speculate what they may look like. Are they going to be gold? Are they going to be platinum? Are they going to have party hats like Alexander Hugo with party hat? We don't know yet. We'll probably find out in the next couple months, but don't expect any of those to actually release until like May, June of 2026. Some of the stuff is going to be earlier. Some of the stuff is going to be later that I mentioned today. I scrambled the entire list just so that we don't know exactly when they're going to come out. I don't want to make things too predictable. But yeah, I'm not really like, there's nothing on this list like race damage move springs that I'm withholding from you guys. There's nothing like Katie Motorton that I'm withholding, like any new names. There's nothing like that here, right? So what do you guys think? This is the 20th anniversary. You get a good mix of all three movies. You get Race and Rescue still. And then you get some wild cards like Mike 07 Flash, Memo Rojas, and this ambulance. We'll see what all that ends up being. I think there is some intrigue in those. But to be completely frank and blunt, I'm not going to dwell on this, but this sucks. For the 20th anniversary, this falls way below expectations. I'm not going to be able to really scratch anything off my bingo card that I formulated in July because we didn't get new packaging. It doesn't look like we're getting the Transberry Juice Crew Chief, which that would have been an easy new release that they were kind of on a trajectory toward. We're not getting Steve Slick LePage. We're getting a bunch of other next gens that have been released in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's a big L for me, guys. I'm not going to just, continue to be negative. I'm sure you'll hear enough about that throughout the remainder of the year. It's just like, what the hell are we doing, Mattel? Like, what are we doing? For new collectors, that's great, but you could be a new collector of like 3 years and still have like most of these because they have been out over the last few years. So we'll see how it pans out throughout the year. Maybe there'll be other stuff. Maybe there'll be a line like the Glow Racers that come in and kind of save us. I do want to put this out there. In 2010, the Mainline was the lenticulars with the metallic chases mixed in there, like Daryl Cartrip, DJ, Ramon, the King, who was lenticular. The fixed size version got canceled. Sorry for another day. Technically, the Final Lap collection, which is where all the meat and potatoes really was, that was like a separate line exclusive to Target. The Mainline was not the Final Lap collection. I don't think many people understand that. Now, this is just me being overly optimistic, but maybe there will be something akin to Final Lap in 2026 that we just don't know about. Maybe they do like a return of the classics where they do release some really good stuff from the first movie. Maybe they mix in some new releases. Who knows? I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility to end this video on more of a positive note. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for my celebration 20th anniversary releases video. Might also do a video so you guys can expect what's coming back for Race and Rescue and what's not coming back for Race and Rescue. As always, appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you guys soon for another video. Bye now.